and I started the recording, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Around 7 people have joined so far. That's good. As soon as we started, 7 people are already online. We'll expect more to join. Yeah, last few sessions we had quite a good number of participants. It was very interesting last 3 workshops. So what I usually do, and then like, because people will join for first 5-10 minutes. So what I usually do, I ask anybody to speak about their startup so that you also get to know what kind of the startup have applied for these competitions, and what stage, what sectors, and so that you can also position your presentation accordingly. So yeah, I mean, I invite anyone to speak about their startup. Feel free to do so. Even if you have done last time, it's okay, because for Hanan it's new. So yeah, you can unmute and speak about your startup, but to make it short, or keep it very brief so that we'll give a chance to others as well. Anyone who wants to volunteer and speak about the startup?
Hello?
Yes, by the way, Ayana is my daughter. She's also one of the participants, and she has a
Wow.
co-founder, Ashimal. So yes, Ayana.
Hello. Okay, so our idea is basically to make paper out of banana peels instead of traditional wood, and we've also designed a machine. So basically, where you put the peels and paper inside, and at the end, it basically comes out as banana paper. Ayana can elaborate on that.
In the banana peel paper, there are also capsicum seeds that make it because banana peels work as compost, and the seeds can make like your own little plant because it's also decomposable, the paper itself. And according to our research, it's also more durable than normal paper, and it works the same as it does otherwise.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
amazing. Thank you so much. I love it. And you know what? Sustainability and working towards sustainable development goals is really, really important. So what you're doing is really important. I'd love to support you in any way possible. That would be amazing.
But although she's my daughter, I have
Thank you.
nothing to do that. They themselves, both of them, came with an idea. They presented in
That's
the
good.
school, and
That's
they came.
amazing. And
Yeah,
that's
and
what's the
they,
amazing thing about this generation. They're very creative and they're
yeah,
using all the tools that are available. So congratulations. I
yeah,
can't wait to hear more.
and seeing that I'm running Entrepreneurial World Cup, she said, "Oh, I want to apply for this one." And I said, "Okay, what is your idea?" Then she showed me what. I said, "Okay, do that." Okay, anybody else who wanna volunteer and speak about your company while we are waiting for others to join? I see 2 people are, and they have actually unmuted. I'm not sure you unmuted to speak, Imad and Nitin. I'm sorry if I'm picking you guys, but I
No,
saw.
no worries. Swatal, you tend to pick me out every single time I'm here, so
Because you are unmuted. I thought you are
yeah,
unmuted to
no worries.
speak.
Happy to introduce myself. I'm Imad. I'm the founder and CEO of Muhtawa. Muhtawa is the Arabic translation of content, and we're here to resolve the cultural representation on content and content libraries that we have for the region. So that's for the likes of Shutterstock, Getty Images, Dali, Midjourney, and all of that. And the idea for us is to that we want to do that by empowering the creators, the videographers, photographers in the region, and later on all the artists, in order to populate the platform with their content and have that content become the rich library that our AI model will train on, and accordingly produce content that is accurate to our cultural nuances. And that also, obviously, that one of our pillars is the inclusivity, and inclusivity means all different nationalities that live in the Middle East or North Africa. It's not just limited to the nationals.
Thank you, Ahmad.
Love that.
I'm
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you joined, Ahmad. Actually, we also, I'm not sure, Aishwarya, if you have reached out to Ahmad, but there was a question raised by our one of the screening judges
Yeah,
about
I'm in the
yours.
process of reaching out.
Okay, you haven't contacted. So good that like you're here. So, and we would like to clarify one thing because this was a question raised by one of the screening judges and in the committee, by the member about your stage of your applicants. I think you applied in early stage, but they believe that you should go to the idea stage. So can you clarify? Aishwarya wanted to contact you for that. So
No worries. So right now we consider ourselves early stage because our MVP is launching in June, and our MVP is a bit more advanced than just a minimal MVP. It's actually a full product. And also one of the things that we are is that we've already generated revenue. So because we've generated revenue and we are yet to launch a product, we didn't want to consider ourselves early stage, but again, that's up to you guys and the criteria that you guys want to allocate us in.
okay, I think is that the revenue from Meta, $80,000?
Yes, exactly.
But was that a revenue or is it a credit?
No, revenues. So the revenue
Okay.
was for us. So the revenue was for us to create content on behalf of them for their clients.
Okay, so I think that's explained because that was one of the questions. So yeah, so since you generated a revenue, it's a early stage. Makes sense. Now we understand.
All right.
Just a clarification needed. Okay, anybody else you wanna speak about your company because we're gonna start in 2 minutes. Now that
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Hamdan Al-Marshidi, founder of Aliana Beauty, where we connect clinics, hospitals with consumers or customers. So it is a mobile application. We haven't launched yet. We're supposed to launch soon. We are on the stage. We're inviting the clinics to enlist or register with us. We are already in the beta stage in Android, but we are not yet done with iOS. We are changing our name from my personal name to corporate with iOS. So we are trying to wait for them to change our account. Then we are going to do it with beta also in iOS.
So how do you pronounce your startup name? AL?
Aliana, Alyana.
Okay, great. Okay, who is the next one to go?
I can go next.
Sure.
So we are actually building an entire suite of productivity tools for small business owners and family businesses. And even so our primary focus target market is emerging markets like India, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa, Middle East, MENA region, and even South America. And of course, we can sell our product in Europe and America as well. So I used to run my own business for last like more than a decade. Before that, I used to be a software engineer. So using the learnings from both my professions. So right now I'm building productivity tools where the small businesses, they want to collaborate with employees in their businesses. And it's just that they don't have the right tool. Most of the people, they don't have a very high level of education. So they either have like a high school or maybe like some kind of local college degree. And many times they don't even speak English very well. But most of those users are actually using WhatsApp. So they're kind of quite comfortable using WhatsApp. So what we're trying to do is we have created a messaging tool called IssueCop, where users can basically track all the issues, and the business owner, he can have full control over the kind of communication that is going on. He can onboard user as per his wish and as per his requirements. He can remove people from the business, and sometimes it is not very handy in WhatsApp. And he can also create an organizational hierarchy within the tool, and have lots of filters for filtering tool. Let's say if you have like 5,000 issues on the platform, you can just filter through them in using various tools, and you can drill down to last 5 or 10 issues, which makes it highly usable for business owners and people working in the companies, small businesses primarily.
Great. Thanks, Nitin. Nitin, what's your startup name?
It's called IssueCop.
IssueCop.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay, I'll just take one more. Is there anybody who wanna speak about your company before I kick off? Anyone who wants to volunteer and speak about your company? Okay. Looks like we are good. So let me start. Before I introduce you guys to Dr. Hanan, I'll just share
Hello.
the screen. Yep.
Yeah, before we start, actually, I wanted to ask the founder who came up with Eliana, if that's what it's pronounced.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, just wanted to check if there is another name for your company.
My company name is Active.
Yeah, active.
Active,
Okay, got
Active
it. Got it.
e-commerce. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
And
The
Yeah, because
application
I
name
was
is
not able to
Aliana.
find Eliana. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it.
Active. Yes. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
awesome, great. So welcome everyone once again, and it's good to see you all again for the fourth and final session of our series of workshops that we planned for Entrepreneurship World Cup. Today's we are going to speak about funding and in entrepreneurial vitality, harnessing wellness for business growth investment. I'm not gonna talk about myself. You guys have seen me a few times. So like I briefed, this is the fourth workshop and fourth and final. And I already spoke about our partners and sponsors in our last meeting. And we know this one is actually being delivered by Founder Institute, who is our accelerator partner. And our last presentation, we mentioned about our two semi-final venue. We still unable to finalize the Sorbonne University. Abu Dhabi is still in progress because it's a university. There's a lot of they have requirements. Both Harriet Watt and Sorbonne need to comply with KHDA, and hence their compliance is quite strict. However, Harriet Watt is pretty much close to finalization. If there's any change, we'll let you know. So yeah, in today's sessions, we have Dr. Hanan. I'm gonna introduce Dr. Hanan. So Dr. Hanan, a visionary leader and business strategist with over 25 years of experience, excels in guiding SMEs and startup to success. Dr. Hanan, the business doctor, has been dubbed Dr. Feelgood and even the opera of the Middle East. I like that. Following tens of appearances on webinar and podcast discussion talking about topics that constitute her mission, empowering women in business, startup, and SMEs, sustainable growth, and entrepreneurial mindset and wellness. Her leadership role as a managing director of Founder Institute GCC, advisory role at Loyal VC, Science Works, and Mavericka, and mentoring efforts with a number of international organizations showcase her dedication to nurturing startup. She's also the founder and CEO of Business Doctor and co-founder of the Global Business Women, fostering entrepreneurial growth and sustainable business strategies. She's also an author and podcast host. Dr. Hanan, we welcome you to our fourth and final sessions. And it's really, we are pleased to see you and looking forward to learn about wellness for growing the business.
Thank you so much, Shwetal, and thank you, Entrepreneurship World Cup. It's truly an honor to be here representing Founder Institute and myself. As you said, I think in the intro and what everyone who shared their business idea, I think the essence of what this is important, you had the different workshops with looking at investment and growth and everything. But I love to focus also, as much as we can look at strategies, I love to focus about the person behind the business. It is important. Each one of you here is building a venture. That venture is an extension of your vision, and it is important. And yet, we don't stop long enough to take care of ourselves. We don't take breaks. We don't, nurture ourselves. And without that, we can't nurture our ventures. And that's why I'm happy that you made space for us to talk about wellness in the series. So I'm not going to take much longer. Let me share my presentation. And again, the point of it, I tried to make it as brief as possible, but I think the essence of where we will all benefit is with the questions at the end. So please don't be shy. Do pose your questions. I think even if you're thinking it, someone else will be thinking it. And when you share, you empower someone else to also share their concerns, their challenges. It's not about just your health, it's about everything. And I'm going to be defining wellness a little bit so you can get a better understanding of what we will be looking at today.
So while you're presenting the screen, I have a question. No, please go ahead and present the screen, but I have a question. Okay. So sure. You've been dubbed as a Dr. Feelgood. I'm sure we get, by end of this session, we'll get to know a lot about that side. But curious to know about the opera of the Middle East. So is that because of the hair? I know you need to grow more hair to get to that.
I wish my hair now is shorter. Actually, it was dubbed. I was first of all, can you see my screen just to make sure?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good. So I was on a podcast series during lockdown, and we're like, everyone's home, let's do something. And I was invited to be a co-host on a podcast, and we were doing something on a daily basis. And one day, the host of the show, he's like, "Yeah, you're like Oprah of the Middle East." And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take that. So it's. I think the flair I have is just it's a bit more about the business, but because where did the health and the wellness come from? After I completed, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of background of why my passion is to talk about these topics. I went into business over 40, well, technically about 26 years ago when I graduated from university, but the first two ventures, it was like with the university friends, let's do something. They didn't see the light. Fast forward many years, and when I walked out of corporate, I was sitting with two ex-colleagues of mine, and again the question, let's do something, came up, and we went into 4 businesses over nearly 6 years. But I walked out of them feeling tired, exhausted. My health was really down the drain, and I was also working towards my doctorate degree. It took me a year and a half to complete that, an extra year and a half to complete that, so a total of nearly 6 years. But after I was done, I realized, okay, I'm not well. How can I take care of myself? How do I prioritize myself in my own life? And that's where I went into health coaching. After completing my doctorate degree in business, I decided I want to prioritize my wellness and my happiness. And that was a year degree of literally talking about the concepts we'll be discussing today. And that's where I saw that there was a huge gap, the gap between us getting advice, mentoring, gurus telling us how to build a business, how to build the next unicorn, how to do all that. But no one stops enough to tell you, are you taking care of you? Is this business in alignment with you? Are you well? Are you happy? Is this, is this your vision coming to life or not? And that's why I became passionate about the topic. So I cannot talk business without talking about wellness, without talking about mindset, which we'll also be addressing even if briefly today, because these are the components of what would make you as an entrepreneur and as a business owner able to move forward towards your own vision of what you want from it. So thank you once again, Swithal, for the intro. So today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurial vitality and how do we harness wellness for business growth. So do I need to introduce Founder Institute, Swithal, or that's already been done?
You can. It
okay,
was very briefly done by.
Just to say why we're here, and just to see where the alignment is with Entrepreneurship World Cup. We're going to be looking at defining wellness, at least for a brief moment, fundamentals of mindset. I'll give you some closing advice. Again, this is up for customization as you see fit, and then we'll open up the floors for Q&A. So Founder Institute has a mission. It's a pre-seed accelerator program coming out of Silicon Valley since 2009. So it's been up and running for 15 years with the mission to empower communities that have the talented and motivated people to build enduring and impactful technology-enabled companies worldwide. So it's not just about, it's a program and it's secluded. It's actually in over 200 chapters around the world, which is 95 countries. It has come up to be the world's most proven network to turn ideas into fundable startups, and more importantly, the startups into global businesses. We've got over 6,000 alumni from the program, raised $1.75 billion from investments. The valuation of the companies is over $30 billion, where, as I said, over 95 countries. We have a mentor pool of over 35,000 mentors and leaders, because each chapter is led by people actually active and with experience out of the own entrepreneurial ecosystem. So part of GCC, that's why I work with Samir Sortor, Ayhan. I think Ayhan gave the growth hacking workshop, Carmen Mateos and Katie Mapondera, and we all run the workshop together, the chapter together for FIGCC. And within that as well, network, we have over 2,500 investors helping, again, the idea stage and traction stage startups towards that kind of building up a fundable global business. So today, I want to hear from you and just kind of open your mic and throw around a few words. What's your definition of wellness? We might be throwing this term around, and I would love to know your views on what do you think wellness is, or how do you define it for yourself? If you are well, you are what? And I can't see you, so you have to do it audio, because I'll see you when I'm done with the slides.
So either you guys can unmute and speak, or you can type your questions and I can read on your behalf to Dr. Hanan.
So what does wellness mean to you? Not what society tells you it means. What does it mean to you? Anyone?
Since nobody is speaking up, let me give my definitions.
Yes, sure.
So I see wellness means taking care of yourself, because once you take care of yourself, you can take care of everyone, whether it's your family, whether it's your team members, whether it's your community, or how you can grow your business. So I think it's all about, for you first and then rest.
Yes, which is, the analogy of the oxygen mask on the plane in case of emergency.
Exactly.
They ask you to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can even assist your own children if they're with you on the plane. And I think this defines a big chunk of what wellness is about. It's prioritizing your wellness, your health, your happiness, not from a kind of a way of being selfish and self-centered, because people tend to kind of intermingle them. They're not. If I take care of me, as you were just saying, Spithal, then I'm able to take care of everyone else. If we look at definition, just kind of Google it. Wellness is optimal health and vitality that encompasses, and this is the part I wanted us to pay attention to, it encompasses everything. It's not just about the physical wellness, that you're able to get up and move around. That's being well. But it also has other aspects and dimensions to it. We've got the emotional, intellectual, spiritual, interpersonal, social, environmental well-being. But more importantly as well, today here for you, we also have that part, the entrepreneurial or the business part. Why? Because you decided you're going to take a risk. Whether you're still in a full-time job and you're doing this on the side, I call it the side passion, or you're fully in your business, that wellness extends from the business to you and the other way around. So you're able to carry out the vision that you have. But I want to twist it as well. What does it mean when, so as we said, your venture's wellness is dependent on you, and this is very important. But what if it's the other way around? What if you are not well? And I know these are, I'm just going to be mentioning some things. And for a lot of us, it's kind of it's normal. Everyone else is going through it. Society is showing us that this is what being busy and successful and chasing your dreams is all about. And I like to think of it as us being stuck. And it's like the stuckiness of here. There was an overall, when I sat and analyzed everyone I was working with, everyone I was talking to, what I'm seeing online, there was this overall feeling of stuckiness, and I dubbed it the syndrome. And yeah, it was pun intended. It was supposed to be kind of funny and to attract your attention, but it had various symptoms, and these symptoms had physical, emotional, and mental aspects to it. And again, these were a lot of things that were dismissed as, yeah, it's normal. Everyone else has them. So if we look at the physical symptoms of the syndrome, we find lethargy, as in I'm tired, I just can't get up, and fatigue, the same thing. They're kind of intermingled or interchangeable when we look at that. Just exhausted. I really can't move forward. And kind of, people, they feel that, especially after going through conferences or pitching or meetings after meeting after meeting, the normal thing of having headaches, aches, pains in the joints, in the back, in the neck. These are all things we like, kind of, they're very common right now, that it's just not abnormal to feel those. Inflammation, and that's literally, inflammation is, even if you just do this in your finger, kind of your joints hurt you, that's inflammation. These are things meaning that your body is resisting something inside. It's giving out these kind of signals to tell you, I'm not feeling well. Gut issues, another very common thing we've been hearing about every day now, whether we're looking at reflux issues, heartburn, any kind of autoimmune disease that hits the gut, Crohn's disease, all the kind of inflammations that are related to lactose intolerance. What was the other one? There's another one, gluten intolerance, those kind of things. These are all gut issues, and these have all been provoked by everything that's happening in our lives. It's not the norm, but we've normalized them because everyone around us, most of the people around us, are suffering through them. And last but not least is frequent illness. We say, oh, it's the weather fluctuations. Oh, it's because of the AC. Oh, it's because it is a sign that your immune system is going through a lot of pressure and stress that it cannot cope. So you keep getting ill frequently. So these are some of the physical symptoms. Now, on the emotional symptoms of the syndrome, we have the short fuses. Like, someone says, hi, it's like, what do you want? And it's like in this anger that's building up inside you. And that is the opposite of being well and being at peace and being accepting. Excuse me. We have depression, and of course, depression is not just a sign of a syndrome. Depression is also a mental health issue, and that needs therapy. It needs kind of really taking care of it. And then the last one, we have this indifference. Excuse me. This indifference is, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Whatever happens, I've put in everything. And there's the meh. Excuse me. I don't know, something choked. Meh is like, I'm doing it, but I really don't care if this works out or not. I apologize for that. Okay, that's not part of the syndrome, but I guess it might be. So the indifference and the meh are all emotional symptoms. Beyond that, we have the mental symptoms. This dread. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to get up this other day, this week, everything that's around. That's all part of it.
Do you want to take a short break?
I think I'm okay. Let's see if that works again.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go again. Okay. So the dread is dreading the day ahead, dreading the week ahead, and everything else. Disconnection as well is finding something to do that distracts you from what you need to do. Is being disconnected, whether that is on a social level, being disconnected from the negativity or the positivity that's happening in your life. It's kind of finding a shell and kind of disconnecting mentally in it. And then the busyness. The busyness is, there's so many events, I have to do this, my calendar is always full, I don't have space to breathe. And that in itself puts a lot of pressure on us. And all of this is because of stress. Now, stress is a huge umbrella, falls under it a lot of things. It manifests in our body and in our minds in different ways. Why? Because our bodies are always on, they're trying to fight something. It feels like, you're being chased, because that's our kind of, our primary brains are survival. We're being chased by a tiger or a lion. There's a beast out there and it's going to try to eat us. So your body keeps putting out adrenaline and cortisol, which are stress hormones, trying to keep you to keep moving. So, you know, the fight, flight, or freeze kind of dimensions are always activated in you. And that in itself manifests and changes your body. It does suppress your immune system. It does suppress your digestive. It does suppress your reproductive system. Why? Because your body is just trying to survive. Other things and other symptoms of it would be kind of retention of water and retention of fat, because your body needs the fat to be able to break it down into glucose to pump it to your muscle so you can run away and save your life. It for us, they're very, very small things, but when you look at them together, and when you are in this high-paced tech business trying to build it, looking at your MVP, what's our retention, what's our kind of numbers, the runway, and all of this, your body is getting these stressors all the time, in addition to the everyday life, in addition to the traffic, in addition to making it on time, family, if you've got family, the kids, their health, their wellness, all of these just contribute overall to keep impacting your wellness, to keep impacting your body's feeling of homeostasis, that it is okay, that there's two kind of formats to your nervous system. You have the sympathetic nervous system, which is really activated with the stress hormones and everything else, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is all about relax and digest. It's okay. That's where we can activate it by small. I don't want to say, you know, people say it's like a retreat and having all the self-care and self-love and stuff. But for me, to be practical, I'm looking at 5 to 10 minute slots within my day, looking at where can I stop, breathe, be present, be mindful, be aware of what am I doing. Looking at my calendar with mindfulness means, why am I doing this? What's this in the meeting? What's my purpose? What's my intention in everything I'm engaged in? And kind of selecting for myself, what should I say no to? Rather than saying yes, 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 because maybe that's the next opportunity. Maybe that's the next collaboration. Maybe that's my next investor. Yes, there's a lot of potential and a lot of growth in networking and in going to events and everything else. But if I am on all the time, there will be times when you will collapse on a physical level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, and you won't be able to keep going. And that's why wellness is important. That's why your business's venture is important and is linked to your wellness. Because when you don't have a clear mind, or when you're disconnected, or when you're feeling that dread, or when you're feeling kind of the reflux coming up as you're sitting, how are you going to have enough patience and grace and creativity to be able to invest that in your business to be able to get the best returns out of it? So that is the first part when it comes to talking about wellness and seeing the different things in our lives that could be impacting our wellness without us noticing it, just because everyone else is going through it. Now, mindset. And I think wellness and mindset kind of work together. They're partners in your growth and in your sustainability and thrivability of you and your venture. Mindset, the kind of the expert and the go-to person on mindset is Dr. Carol Dweck. She's been researching this topic for a couple of decades, if not even more. And she says that the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. Why? Because mindset is where this is the subconscious. Actually, research now shows that 95% of our actions on a daily basis and our decisions and everything we do is 95% from our subconscious programming. And this is where we are imprinted with certain types of mindset. I'll speak a little bit about them. Since growth, we are mostly imprinted between the ages of 0 and 7, from watching our caregivers and our loved ones and how they interact, and us developing that own kind of programming for ourselves. Beyond that, as we go through life, we are impacted by people around us, the surroundings, the culture, of course, where we grew up has an impact on that. Any other kind of pressing, but every person, I believe, every person we meet in our lives has an imprint on us, and that imprint could impact your mindset. So if we're looking, what is mindset, or how does it affect me? Mindset impacts the way you act, react, and interact in your life. And there are certain categories or classifications for mindset. Of course, you can broaden it as much as possible, but these are kind of the common ones. We have the positive versus negative mindset. Like if we take the simplest example, the glass and the half full. Well, a positive person would say it's half full. There is half of it is already full. A negative person, it's half empty. And that's the kind of different perspectives that you would have depending on your mindset on what's in front of you, on the opportunities that you have. Oh, but it's only this versus, oh, but it is that. That's the positive versus negative, or I can't do this versus, but I'm able to do this. Like, those kind of very small alterations in your everyday life, it impacts the way you think, but it also impacts the way you talk, which has been dubbed by Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins as transformational vocabulary. It impacts the words we use. And these words could have empowering versus disempowering abilities and influence over not just your business, but also over your everyday life and your wellness. Now, growth versus fixed. A fixed mindset says, I don't get numbers. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. There's nothing I can do about it. And that's fixed. A growth mindset would say, okay, I don't really get the numbers, but I know someone who could support me to simplify it for me, or I know someone that can kind of break it down, or that could do that job, or that can take care of that part of the business for me. It is asking different questions versus I can't, I won't, I shouldn't. That would be the fixed versus how can I, who can I talk to, where can I go, what can I do about this? And that's expanding our mind to ask different questions to get to the solutions that would support us, whether we're looking at our kind of personal growth and entrepreneurial growth or our ventures growth. And the last one is the abundance versus the scarcity. The scarcity is there isn't enough of, abundance, there's a lot of. Scarcity immediately when we're talking about startups and everything's like, I don't have enough money. I can't build my MVP. I can't build my solution. I can't bring it to the world. I don't have the expertise or whatever it is. That's immediately scarcity. You're looking at what you don't have. Bearing in mind, you always have of everything something. It's not a zero. You can't just have a zero because you have different types of resources available to you at any point in time. You have your, yes, financials are definitely one of them. You might not have a lot, but you might have some. You have your time, you have your energy, you have your knowledge, and you have any other tangible or intangible assets. These are all resources at your disposal at any point in time. Are you going to have them equally? No. But you can have different phases depending on your business and where you are in your life. You can have a little more of something than you had yesterday or the other way around. So when you're looking at abundance, like, okay, I might not have the financials now, but I have enough time and energy that I will research how to get over that. Or I have enough of a network to be able to find a technical co-founder with me, a CTO, so they can compensate for the lack of financials because they can do the job versus equity. And these are the kind of viewpoints that you would have, scarcity versus mindset, and looking versus abundance, and looking at your mindset from that perspective and understanding how it impacts your wellness and your venture. Excuse me. Now, I wanted to offer you a tool that I had developed, and it's called the processing process. And yes, the pun is intended. And it's really sometimes I kind of developed it because I was looking at how do I extract myself when there is a time where I'm feeling something's just not sitting right. I'm not feeling like myself. Or actually, I realized you can even use it for your business. I'll run through it for your personal and then kind of give you a twist on it for your business. But this kind of framework helped me extract myself towards an adaptive, what I like to refer to as an adaptive growth mindset. It's kind of looking at where can I kind of change and where can I make the amendments to be able to support me. Because these feelings of negativity and helplessness that we do feel, and I'm saying this could be on a daily basis, there could be parts of your day, or it could be extended, they impact us. They're like quicksand. And unless you have the tools to kind of extract yourself, if you've seen any movie with quicksand in it, and usually these are the adventures, when they're kind of struggling and frantic in it, they usually sink in. But when they're quiet and calm and they look around and they look for the assistance or the tools or something to pull themselves out with, that's where they kind of are able to get out. And I want you to think of the processing process in the same perspective. How do I use it as a tool to extract myself from a negative, scarce, fixed mindset? And I'm not saying you're supposed to always be happy and positive and abundant and all of this, because that's not realistic. We're humans. But the times where you feel that you need that, this is where this could help. First, I would like you to ask yourself, what am I feeling? Because there's a huge spectrum of feelings. And usually it's like I'm angry or I'm mad or I'm sad. But then could you be disappointed? Could you be overwhelmed? Could you be just tired? Identifying the feeling is important because you break it down into something that you can acknowledge and you can work backwards with. And the working backwards is that part. What made me feel this way? What triggered this feeling for me? Was it a message I got, a scroll, something, a post that I saw when I was scrolling on any of the platforms? Was it an email, a conversation I had with my partner, business partner, or one of my kids, or something like this? Identifying the trigger is important because then we can kind of then go on to the next phase, which, why did I feel this way? Was it something that someone projected onto me? As in someone told you, oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's too big a vision. Oh, that's too difficult. Oh, you don't have the money. Well, that's self-projection, because a lot of the times people say what they would feel if they were put in the situation, but they're not you. And they don't have your resourcefulness. They don't have your vision. They don't have that dream and that kind of determination and perseverance and the resilience and everything it takes to be an entrepreneur, to be building a business. So that could be, or there could be a time where, yeah, this was something that you've been struggling with and you want to get better at, or you want to address, but you haven't had the time. And that's okay, because now we can say, how can I process through this feeling? Do I need external support? Do I need to address the fact that, this is not my issue, I'm not going to concern myself? I like to think of it as also sometimes when it's about others projecting onto you, the self projections from others. I like to think of it, if any of you are kind of Star Wars or any of the sci-fi movies, there are always energy shields around the machines and around the kind of the enterprise and stuff. And I like to think that eventually we have enough resilience to build energy shields around ourselves. And what they do is they ward off the others' projections onto us, and those kind of negative, disempowering thoughts, comments, and things that come along your way. Again, it's never easy to build a business. It's not easy to be a tech entrepreneur. But does that mean it's impossible? No, it just means that you have to have the resilience and the perseverance and the resourcefulness and the creativity to keep going towards that vision that you've had. And last but not least, and this is really important because we don't do that enough, is how do you dismiss it? How do you, okay, now I extracted what I need to extract, whether it's something work I need to do, whether that's someone projecting something onto me or anything else. Now I need to dismiss it. I need to let it go so I can move on. And this, maybe I think of it as, what's next? Now what do I do? What's my next step? Rather than kind of just staying stuck back to the stuckiness, staying stuck in this phase and not moving forward with it. From a business perspective, think of these questions all from a business. If your business does feel stuck, if you feel like it's got this kind of halo of the negative, whether it's not a really mindset about your business, but if it's negative, it looks scarce, or kind of, you're suffering with it a little bit, then ask yourself these questions on behalf of your business. What is happening with the business? Rather, what am I feeling? What made this happen to the business? If it was flowing or it stopped, or you're losing customers, or you're not getting enough funding or revenues, or your team is disengaged or something. Why did this happen? So kind of the analysis part. How can I make this better? Where do I need external consultants, advisors, tools, AI, kind of something to help with the optimization of my processes and everything else? And now what's next? What's next for the business? So that in essence is the processing process. I hope you get value out of it and that you use it. Now to wrap up, as closing advice, you are responsible for your own subjective success. And I put this very intentionally. We need to be accountable for our own success, but success is not necessarily what is dictated to us by the outside world. By you're a tech startup, you have to be a unicorn or else you didn't make it. No, your subjective success is what do you want out of your business? Whether you are creating and empowering Arabic speaking content creators in the region, or you are creating kind of sustainable paper out of banana leaves, and which is amazing, or you are creating the next portal for all kinds of e-commerce for small businesses. These are things that you want, but where do you see it? Is this going to be $1 million business, or is this going to be $100,000 business? Because each of them would entail different investments of your energy sources, as we were talking, or resources, energy, time, money, effort, and any other tangible or intangible resources. You want something out of it. You want to keep running it for the next 10 to 20 years, or you want to build it enough that it's kind of fundable, or want to build it enough that you can exit out of it and then move on to the next thing. So subjective success is, what does success mean to you? You want to 2 hours to spend 2 hours a day on the business because you care about your family and you want to spend more time with them, or you want to take more time off and travel and do that, or you're all in. I want to spend 100 hours a week building this business. That's success to me. That's yours to decide, not for everyone and anything outside of you to decide for you. So we know that success, what success means to you, means there has to be consistent effort. So for us to get that success, we need to make sure we follow our guts, and that's our intuition. Does this seem in alignment with you or not? Is this going to contribute to my wellness or not? Which in turn contributes to the wellness of my business. Talk to others, and I think this is why this platform is amazing, as Entrepreneurship World Cup, as Founder Institute, as every other partner in this venture. There are others who have done something. Talk to them, get their kind of, not just their entrepreneurial experience, that gives you tacit knowledge, it gives you experiential knowledge, those that have done it. It's not someone who's just sitting on a stage preaching about entrepreneurship. These are people who have been in the dredges, kind of really doing it themselves. And you want to get those kind of insights. But again, don't let it impact what you believe you can do, but you can extract from them ingredients towards your own recipe for success. Set the vision and follow through with execution. It's not going to happen. Execution is not just about the vision. Here, I'm not just referring to your venture. We know you need to have a vision for your venture and you need to follow through with execution. I'm also looking at your wellness. I'm also looking at your mindset. What does wellness mean to you? And that's why I started with that question. Is it a certain size? I don't really believe in the weights, as in what weight are you on the scale? Because there are a lot of people who actually could appear on the outside as having excess fat, but they're healthier than people with very low weights. And that's why, again, health and wellness is very subjective. But what does wellness and health and happiness mean to you? Is it taking half an hour a day for meditation and relaxation? Is it listening to music? Is it, kind of making sure that I do health checkups every 6 months, making sure that, I have a chronic disease, a diabetes, high blood sugar, and high blood pressure. And I need to maintain those. But you need to follow through with the execution. You need to, whether you need to put it on your calendar, you need to check up with, practitioners or doctors or whatever it is to be able to follow through with it. Build your tribe. Your tribe could be 2 people. Your tribe could be 200 people. Your tribe are people who are like-minded and like-hearted. They might not necessarily be entrepreneurs themselves, although it would be helpful to have people, even if they're building businesses similar to yours or something that's completely different. Knowing the challenges that you are going through and everything that is around you is very supportive when you have other people you can share it with. They're the ones that I don't necessarily believe they would pick you up when you fall down, because that's on you. This going back to being accountable for your own success, but they would tell you you could do it. They would tell you, great job. They would tell you, I believe in you. Sometimes we don't even believe it for ourselves, and we need to hear it from someone we love and trust on the other side. Embrace the setbacks in your venture, embrace the setbacks in your health and in your wellness. It's okay. Your body cells, by the way, every cell in your body actually renews itself, but it will not renew itself unless you give it that opportunity. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and if I remember the number correctly, every 6 years, your body cells are completely regenerated. Each organ some take a few weeks, some take a few months, some take a few years. But imagine the amount of potential within your own body. And imagine if you're looking at a setback as this is an opportunity to stop, to take care of me, to prioritize my wellness. And that is the same. It's kind of parallel in business as well. When your venture is going through a setback, it's an opportunity to reflect, to do the processing process and see how can you get into an adaptive growth mindset to deal with it. And last but not least, smile. I think smiling, well, I believe a smile comes from the heart and it goes through the eyes. It's not just about your lips, but smiling makes it a little easier. It makes you kind of release some endorphins, which are feel-good hormones and happiness and stuff, and you can address things with a little differently. I'm not saying we're being oblivious to what's happening in the world. The world is, unfortunately, it's sad and it's ugly, and sometimes it's quite depressing and frustrating. But if we can shift things around inside of us, then we can kind of be the change we want to see in the world. And last but not least, I'm going to invite you for a short visualization exercise. And visualization, for those who are not familiar with it, it is about you seeing into your own future. And by closing your eyes and creating this visual image in your mind, then we are also contributing, even with a little bit, towards shifting our mindset and adjusting in our subconscious to be able to drive ourselves towards that future we see for ourselves. By kind of adjusting that, by seeing that visual image or that future kind of projection of yourself, you will find that your actions today are going to take a bit of a turn. So I would ask you, please, if you're not driving and you're in a safe space, that you are able to do this, if you would shut your eyes for a few seconds and just listen to my voice and listen to those cues. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to ask, where do I want to be? Like, what am I working towards? Whether you are looking on your personal life, on your wellness, on your happiness, on your venture. What do I want to achieve? What does it mean to me to see myself in the future? Is this future 3 years down, 5 years down, 20 years down? How do I want to feel in this space? Is this an area where I'm seeing I've built my business, I've got what I want out of it, I am celebrating now an exit, I'm celebrating an IPO, I'm celebrating my health, I'm celebrating my family? How do you want to feel then? And I want you now to engage your imagination. Imagine yourself at that moment, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. What does it look like? What's an ideal outcome for you? What is success? Engage your other senses. What does it smell like? Are you on a stage? Are you at home? Are you on the beach? What does it feel? Are you feeling something around you? Is someone with you? Can you feel a breeze? Can you feel sunlight? Can you feel snow? What does it sound? How does it sound? What does it sound like? Does it sound like chatter? Is it loud and bubbly? Is it just the waves? Is it just you sitting quietly and listening to some quiet music? I'd encourage that you do this exercise at least once a day, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Just see yourself project yourself into the future. Know what are you working towards. You're all here because you are building an entrepreneurial venture. And you're also the human behind this venture. What do you want out of it? You can open your eyes now. And that's it from my end. And now we can open up for Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hanan. I mean, it was amazing. So, I mean, I have seen entrepreneurial journey is not easy, you know, like people are so, you know, engrossed in their day-to-day stuff. They are sucked into the day-to-day problem, whether it's employee, people related, or operations, technology. I think this is what it happens. Like once you get into this startup journeys or entrepreneurial journey, and the last thing is they take care of the, you know, last thing that what they do is to take care of themselves. Right? Honestly, they don't take care of their health. I mean, I always share a story of one of the founders who I met when we started this company, Startup 360. In the first year, I happened to meet with this guy, and it was amazing vision they had. And they were already like growing fast. They raised a couple of really good round, and the business was also growing. It is, you know, like a crazy that like they have to, like all the founders needs to roll up their sleeves to manage because they were short of the team. And then of course when they raised the money, they added a lot of people, you know. But fast forward, I met this guy after 3 years, and I was shocked to see him because I couldn't recognize him. I felt like, you know, the guy was completely looking totally different guy, because honestly, I felt he's looking like a drug addict because he lost his weight, uh, lost some of his hair, and he was like really, really uh, in a bad shape because he was not taking care of himself. He's not taking care of his health. He wanted to grow business. It was growing. It was acquired also by one of the, you know, largest conglomerate venture house, which is Yamaha Venture, and they got some good exit. But by then, the guy had a lot of health issue. You know, there's so much.
And that's why I'm saying, what do you want out of it? What's your subjective success? Because I know, I mean, personally, for me, the 4 businesses we built over nearly 6 years, my health, and these were not even startups. And I know startups are much faster paced. These were small and medium enterprises. And my health collapsed so much that I ended up kind of throwing up blood, and I go to the hospital and the doctor's like, I need to lock you up now because we need to do all these tests to see what's wrong with you. And I'm like, I can't afford the time. You know, my son's at home, my husband is at, I don't know what, I have the work, I have my studies. And that's the problem, is where you can't even prioritize some time to take care of your own health because you're always on the go. You're always, there's another milestone. And people tell you, if you stop now, you're going to lose momentum. But if you lose momentum because you're taking care of you, then that speed or that momentum that you can acquire afterwards could go a lot faster or a lot further for you. Versus, as you said, when you're always on the hamster wheel, as like, I can't sleep. And insomnia is a huge thing for a lot of entrepreneurs because they can't switch off their minds and they end up sleep deprived, which means that everything we were talking about, the syndrome, just kind of manifests. You are not going to eat well, you're not going to sleep well, you're not going to kind of be able to have other health issues, but also your energy levels and your focus. These are all not just impacting you, they will be impacting your business as well. So you go into this vicious loop, and there is a point where, God forbid, the collapse happens, and that's where you have to take a break to take care of yourself. And that's not good because sometimes that's a bit too late. I know we kind of dub it burnout. I've had burnout more than once, and burnout is an ugly place to be because you have lost all types of reserves then that it's so difficult to crawl up from there. So I'm asking you 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. I'm not saying go on a 10-day retreat and it's okay, the business will be here when you come back, because that's the other extreme of saying self-care and self-love is you taking days off just to be able to do this. I'm saying if you can't do that, then 10 minutes a day is all you owe yourself or all you can afford for yourself. Take them, but take them with mindfulness and take them with intention and make them count.
Totally agree. I mean, so we come across a lot of founders, right? Every day we interact with them, and if you ask them what are the two things they want, it's of course I want funding, I want to grow my business, right? And when it comes to the funding, I mean, everyone is looking for the capital. Even if they're not raising capital, they're thinking about raising capital, right? So it's like a 24/7, 365 days activity. And this is like they're mentally drained out. Of course, there's a physical draining out and the mentally draining out. And those things like combination, eventually they label as a burnout, right? I mean, it's not about really burnout. It's all about how you define your burnout, like how you taking care of yourself. I can share my personal story, and this is a very interesting subject, by the way. I love this topic. And I also share some of my experience with a lot of founders that I meet with them. So I would like to share my personal story, and it will really it might help them, but I would love to hear stories from the founders who are on the call. So I was working for quite a large corporate. I used to, drive also a lot. And I was so crazy about what I want to do in my life in terms of growing in the corporate ladder, right? And I was like, I had a vision, I had a dream. I was chasing the dream, I was chasing the dream. And I used to work late. I used to I was very like at the same time living a sedentary life because most of my work was desktop job. But for me, yes, meeting the goal and all those was important. Of course, fast forward, I had the back problem started. It went severe, and suddenly I got a disc prolapse, right? And it was so severe. It's so severe that I couldn't even walk. It's so severe. And of course, it was in 2015. I was in London. I was doing my MBA. So it was a time when because I was so aspirant, I wanted to get into the leadership role. I went to very top business school, London Business School, to even pursue the MBA. And I thought that may change my, that may accelerate the career. But it was so difficult. I had full-time job. I was doing MBA. I got my second daughter delivered. It was very difficult. So it went to a point that I had to go for surgery because I could not walk. I came in the wheelchair from London. Straight from airport, I went to the hospital, admitted. They found that it was a severe collapse, and there was no options. Of course, thank God the surgery was successful, got a good doctor, but that was a good lesson learned because I was doing on and off health and fitness. I used to go to the gym, but I was not very regular. I did some bit of yoga, I wasn't regular. But then that was for me a lesson learned. I think health is wealth. Really, you need to take care of yourself. And I got into, of course, I could have gone to the gym and all those things, but my lifestyle changed, my body changed. I was not able to, equip with that part. So hence I've chosen the things which my body will listen to it and my body will adopt. So what I did, I got into yoga, got into meditation. Today, every day, whenever I, get up in the morning, I spend 20 minutes to meditation. Sometimes it's a self-reflection. It's not like you're not really getting into the actual meditations, but it's just that you're 20 minutes away from a lot of things and you are reflecting. You're taking some time in the meditation, you're thinking about the work, but at least you're away from many things and you're trying to forcing to think about yourself. And then I do yoga. It really helped me. Today, I can lift heavy things. I can do a lot of things. I can run so many things. And it's as we as we speak, we are again in a very peak stage. We're running Entrepreneurship World Cup. We have a lot of other projects going in parallel beside the EWC. I sometimes sleep at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock every day, which is not I advise, but this is something personally happening to me. But I never say I'm burned out because when I get up, I have to find time for myself to see how I can unwind, right? So I really find a time to see. I think about okay. I have always in my mind. It's not about the mind that I need to do this work. That's of course it will happen. But I say I go back and think I need to do a bit of yoga, I need to do meditation. So I find time for myself to do something to take care of me. So I think that's something I advise. I think
Alan, sorry, this is something really, really important what you said. You found something that worked for you. And again, we're bombarded with the messaging that you need to do this and you need to do, you know, high intensive workouts and you need to run and you no, actually, you need any kind of physical activity that will support you, but more importantly, that fits into your lifestyle rather than you imposing on it. Because when you impose something from the outside, you can't stick to it. There's no consistency there. And that's if you don't maintain it, you're not going to get the health benefits out of it. I realized I hate aerobics. I mean, with all due respect for everyone else, I don't enjoy it. It really gets on my nerves. I've got prolapsed discs in my back and in my neck as well. So yoga for me is a bit painful. But I realized that something like F45, which is functional training, I absolutely love that. And if I can fit 3 to 4 sessions a week, then I'm ecstatic with it. And that's the thing. If walking is for you, if swimming, if yoga, there are at least 100 different types of physical activities that work for you. Find something that you're happy about that you can fit into your day. So even if you miss the morning session or the evening session where you're supposed to, you can still find a slot for it in your day and it's not going to feel imposed. And that's a very important element, not just for your physical activity, but any kind of wellness activity you will pick up. Rather than follow what the gurus are saying, find what you are in alignment with and what works for you and what makes you feel good after it.
Yeah, it's like saying that, listen to your body, what your body wants. It's like a music, right? Any fitness like a music. The way you listen to the music and go with that rhythm, that's how
And
you're.
food, by the way, you don't have to be a vegan to be healthy. There are a lot of vegans who are unhealthy because they're not getting enough nutrients. But you can be, you've picked the nutrition system that works for your body. And this is where the support comes in to understand whether you want to be a low carb, a keto, a vegan, a vegetarian, a pescatarian. What does it work for you that you're happy about it and you not feel like you're deprived? Pick something that works. I realized for me, it was low carb, not low carb keto. It was just low carb, no artificial sugar. My body is happier inside. It's feeling well. But everything else just didn't work. The deprivation, low calories, those kind of things, just wasn't right for me. Yeah. And this is the part where it's a self-discovery. The whole journey of wellness, of happiness, of everything we are talking about, just like with the entrepreneurial venture, it's about self-discovery. Grace yourself the time and the period to try out different options and see what works for you.
Absolutely. So we'll open the floor for questions, but just that before I ask someone to, basically start questions, or, if I have any other points to mention, please mention also in the chat. But I have turned into vegetarian 4 years ago. So I started going from pescatarian, first giving completely meat, then pescatarian, and I'm vegetarian. Yes, I do agree that you find some deficiency. But that's where, like you said, you use the word discovery. You have to figure out how you fill that gap, with the different stuffs. But yeah, I mean, I leave others to ask questions. I don't want to take a lot of time, but it's amazing topic. I love this topic always. So do you guys have any questions for Dr. Hanan? Please feel free to unmute and ask questions. Or if you're a bit shy or hesitant, you can even drop the message in the chat box. If you have any personal story to share, please do that, because this is really, it will motivate a lot of people. It will inspire a lot of people, that because we all are on an entrepreneurial journey. I am also a startup in a way, but we are here to support startup like you. I think Imad, you unmute. Yeah, go ahead, Imad.
So first of all, thank you guys, and thank you, Dr. Hanan, for giving us this very important talk. It's actually it actually reminded me a lot of why I started Muhtawa. So just as a very summarized version, I used to work as the head of social, digital, and content at some of the global agencies. I work day and night. People my ex-wife used to say, I'm married to the job, and she's the mistress to the job, basically. And it's actually when I realized that one day I was burnt out, and I had a panic attack because of the burnout, and I was hospitalized. And I was asked by the doctor when I was in the hospital bed, like I couldn't move, like my body couldn't move, it was just stuck. And then the doctor asked me, "What do you do?" And when I looked at him and I said, "I do marketing," and the look in my face, like, why am I putting myself throughout this entire process? And it was actually also the same moment where I decided, you know what, I'm going to venture on my own, and I'm going to do something that I'm truly passionate about, and where my energy is exerted in a more positive manner. So it was a pivotal decision that I had to take. But when I saw myself in that position from a third person point of view, I was like, there's nothing on earth that is worth taking my health away.
Thank you for sharing, Ahmed, and I totally agree. And by the way, it's sometimes we know that starting a business, it's not necessarily easier than having a job, but sometimes we make that decision because at least that feeling of control, that I can do this better for me, for my family, for kind of managing my time. These are all elements that are really, really important. And as you said, sometimes, is this worth it? Is this really worth it? And you have to make that stop and make a hard decision for yourself. So thank you for sharing it. I felt the same way. So that's why I went into business. I had our son, and I'm like, I want to stop there. I'm not going to go back to corporate to take care of our son. And that led into now 6 businesses. But you never know.
Amazing. Thank you, Mark. Anybody got any other points to share before we wrap up?
So I'll just speak a little bit. As I said, I started my journey with being a software engineer. I was like working as an engineer for Microsoft in the US. I came back to my home country, India, where I started my own business with the help of my family. And I was doing really well. I did the business for more than a decade. And then I recently came to London, and I wanted to point it to Shwetal that I went to London Business School recently, and I finished a Sloan program at LBS. And now I am like focusing only on my entrepreneurial journey. And I think I just feel I have too many ideas, and I couldn't pursue all of them while I was doing my job or my business. So I just gave up everything, and I'm focusing on businesses. And in fact, I just built my first product, but I have like several more going on, and I'm hoping to build like 5 to 6 different products within the next 6 to 8 months. And most of them are in the B2B space, but I have ideas in health tech and sustainability space as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Amazing.
Nitin, may I advise just something, Nitin? Just pace yourself out in a way. You said you want to launch 5 to 6 products over 6 to 8 months, which is very, very intense. I would say prioritize, 6 to 8 months, prioritize 2 top products that you want to do, and then kind of take it from there, because each one of those is going to consume a big chunk of your resources. That's your time, your effort, your energy, and your money, of course, and any other tangible or intangible assets that you have. And I know I'm a multi-potentialite, multi-passionate person, and I want to do so many things at the same time. But we also know when you give it as much of you as possible, you will get a lot more traction. So I'm not saying, and this is advice, take it with a grain of salt, see what works for you. Pace it out a little more. So that kind of pipeline, space it out, because going back to what we're talking about today, prioritize your health, your wellness, and your ability to recover between these projects as well. That would be my advice to you. But of course, it's your decision.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I can already feel it. And sometimes the days are like just crazy. And of course, I have a family to look after. So sometimes it is crazy, but I totally resonate with that. And I think I'm trying to do that, and I hope I do that effectively.
Hopefully. Thank you, Nitin.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no questions, then I want to thank Dr. Hanan for amazing sessions. Like I said, it's always close to my heart. I'm someone who tried to follow some of the tips that you mentioned. And this is something, like I said, the health is wealth. So thank you, Dr. Hanan. And it's really a pleasure having you today for as part of our Entrepreneurship World Cup series. And this is the final sessions out, 4 out of 4. And we are pretty close to finalizing our semi-finalist. I think we are almost there with the scores and all coming. We are compiling it. We're going to disclose that soon. So you're also invited for the final event. If you're in the UAE, please do come on 31st of May to attend the event. We would love to acknowledge your, effort as well as, Founder Institute support as our accelerator partner. So thank you once again, Dr. Hanan.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and good luck to everyone, and good luck with the whole World Cup. And I'm looking forward to supporting you again in the future. Thank you so much, Vidal. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. It was really. Bye.
Bye.